there's been a murder. If you decided to watch this video, I assume you're aware of this, but if you're not, I'll be summarizing the current suspects. Jefferson Blunt, the man behind Blunt Brothers Productions, has started a murder mystery series on his personal channel, Jefferson Blunt, which is explained through community posts. At the time of recording this, the series is 16 days into its 30-day runtime, but we have 14 suspects. Until day 13, we were anonymously told information about various dancing little guys. On day 13, we learned that Petey was the one explaining everything to us. Gulp had been killed, and Petey told us the sheriff wanted an outsider, that'd be us, to help investigate. We don't know the cause of death, which makes this more difficult, and the only information we receive about the suspects is obscure lore. To mark the halfway point, I wanted to make a video with my theory about who the killer is. For the benefit of us all, I'll go through each suspect before guessing who the murderer is. On day 1, we were told about Greg. Greg is chill and a great listener, but he has no nose. He likes Transformers, but his favorite movie is Gladiator. He hasn't been to Syria, but he's okay with that. He apparently wasn't at the incident, which is most likely referring to Gulp's murder. I assume this means that he wasn't near the body. Day 2 introduced us to Bumper, who has no hands and doesn't like when people ask how he picks things up. Despite that, he smiles at everyone except Lump, and isn't talkative, especially regarding the incident, which, again, is probably Gulp's murder. Bumper doesn't drink anymore, but we don't know if that's referring to alcohol or liquid in general. He's never seen Gladiator, but he loves Russell Crowe. On day 3, we met Gerald. He's won the lottery, and he put some of his winnings into savings, but most of it was spent on ginger ale. He has no regrets, but we don't know if that refers to the lottery spending or something else. He tends to run everywhere, and once stepped on Petey's foot without apologizing. Gerald has only seen Gladiator 2. Day 4 informed us about Snack, who does snacky things. I don't think he's a snake, so he doesn't do snaky things. I assume there's a difference. Petey calls him a charmer. Snack thinks Lump is being mischaracterized, but he's paranoid. He believes mistakes were made, but no one is focusing on the real issue. We don't know what that is. It could be Gulp's murder, or Gulp's murder might be the wrong focus. Snack also only eats evil mice, and his favorite movie is Jungle Book. On day 5, we were told about Mop. Mop is apparently a gangster who loves his mom. However, he isn't a suspect because he has an alibi. Day 6 showed us Flat. There is someone I assume we will be introduced to later who is flatter than him. Flat has YouTube Premium, and he saw a dog once. He is a conspiracy theorist, believing in the turtle shell Earth theory, but also thinks that turtles aren't real. He simultaneously loves to read and can't read. He does, however, miss Gulp. Next, on day 7, Tonko was explained to us. He can sneeze with his eyes open, and he consists of various taco ingredients, as well as uranium. Taco plays basketball and is described as a baller. He was the one who found Gulp. Day 8 introduced us to Munchroom. He stools toads, so he either grows toads or defecates them. He is unarmed, perhaps in multiple ways. He was once called a mushroom, but it doesn't seem that he did anything about it. He's also friends with Greg and Blimp. Munchroom leaves for long periods of time, but we don't know what he does during that time. He disappeared recently and appeared one day after the murder had occurred. Day 9 was skipped, so we may just get 29 dancing little guys. On day 10, we met Skip. He's busy and has a lot of friends, but he's lonely. He loves Gladiator, and he actually is Gladiator. He thinks that he forgot or missed something, and he has no comment on Gulp's murder. Day 11 informed us of the murdered guy himself, Gulp. Gulp was found by Tonko. He had many friends, but also some enemies. We don't know how he felt about Gladiator. On day 12, we were shown Pogo. We don't know anything about Pogo. At last, day 13 introduced Petey. It is this day that Petey explains that the sheriff wants an outsider to assist in the investigation and asks that we help solve the murder. Petey confidently says we can rule out Mop. Remember, he had an alibi. Petey tells us a little about himself too. He says that he tries to be friendly to everyone and that he likes Gladiator. From the previous entries, we also know that Gerald stepped on Petey's foot, but we don't know how he feels about this. Petey's scared of toads, and he was apparently late to a party, which is why we got no information about Pogo. I'm assuming Petey was the one late to a party. If Jefferson was late to a party, I think he would have edited the post later to give us lore. Also, I asked if Petey was talking here, and the response I got was, "It's a secret," which makes me think this was Petey talking. Then, on day 14, Hunch was explained to us. He has bad posture, possibly from playing Marvel Rivals. He doesn't have a spine, and he can be rude. Even so, Gulp was nice to Hunch, but Hunch litters and loves concrete. Petey thinks Hunch is too lazy to kill. Hunch is the only one so far to reportedly hate Gladiator. Day 15 featured Roll. Petey really likes Roll, and doesn't think he's the murderer. Petey says that everyone loves Roll. Roll once made cookies for everyone, but they tasted like battery acid. Until the incident, Roll spun clockwise. Finally, we reach day 16, the 15th little guy, which is Worm. Worm steals a lot, and has even gone to prison for it. He says he's changed, but Petey doesn't believe him. Petey and Gulp once confronted Worm about stealing from them, but he denied it, and that was that. Although Worm steals, he saved everyone from a hurricane. Given all that information, I'm first going to rule out some suspects. I don't think Greg was the murderer because he's chill, and there isn't anything in his description to suggest he killed Gulp. I don't think that Bumper killed Gulp either, since he smiles at everyone save Lump, so I doubt he had anything against Gulp. I also don't think it's Gerald. He runs almost everywhere, which would make killing Gulp difficult, assuming he didn't slow down. I think Gerald just has a lot of energy, or he's training for a marathon. Some might suspect Snack, but I think he's innocent. For one, he has no hands or legs, so it would be difficult for him to kill Gulp. Plus, he only eats evil mice. I'm pretty sure murder is evil, and if Snack eats exclusively evil mice, I assume that's because he doesn't like evil things. He's paranoid, which could be because he killed Gulp, but I think he's more worried about the killer still being out there. I think that's the real issue. I also don't think the mistakes that were made were Gulp's murder. Perhaps he means that Lump made a mistake, causing some of the others not to like him. Now, according to Petey, we can rule out Mop completely. We don't know his alibi, but for now we have to trust Petey. I also don't suspect Flat. While he made contradictory statements, though not regarding the murder, he misses Gulp. Then there's Tonko. We don't know much about Tonko, but I don't think he killed Gulp. He found the body, but there isn't anything suspicious about him other than that he contains uranium. He's in one piece, so I don't think Gulp ate any part of him, meaning it probably wasn't uranium that killed Gulp. Moving on to Munchroom, I saw numerous people blame the murders on him. I don't think he did it, though, because that would be too obvious. Of course he disappears and then reappears right after the murder. Munchroom doesn't strike me as violent, though. Like Petey said, he's unarmed. This could mean that he doesn't have a weapon to murder Gulp with. He was also called a slur, but I don't think he attacked anyone over it. Unfortunately, one suspect is missing thus far. Day 9 was skipped. I don't know why Petey didn't tell us anything, but perhaps whoever was supposed to be introduced that day is the murderer and will be revealed at the end. Anyway, next is Pogo. Since Petey didn't think it was important to give us information about Pogo, I'm assuming he's innocent. Of course, Petey himself can't be ruled out, but I don't think it was Petey, because I think that would be too obvious too. Of course the murderer is the cute guy who we're supposed to trust. Although, Jefferson could be counting on us thinking this and make Petey the murderer anyway. Then we have Hunch. Petey wants to rule out Hunch because he thinks Hunch is too lazy. I also don't think Hunch is the murderer, but mostly because Gulp was always nice to Hunch, so there doesn't seem to be reason for Hunch to kill Gulp. Then we have Roll. Petey likes Roll, so he doesn't think he's the murderer. Once again, I also don't think it was Roll. This is another case of too obvious. Of course the one everyone loves is the murderer. The battery acid cookies might sound suspicious, but Petey claims everyone loves Roll, so he was probably making cookies with a good heart. Apparently, too much baking soda in cookies can give them a battery acid-like taste, so I think it's very likely that Roll is just bad at baking. Finally, I'm confident that Worm isn't the killer. Worm is simply a kleptomaniac, not a murderer. He likes to steal, but he saved everyone from a hurricane. He doesn't seem to want to cause physical harm to anyone, so I find it hard to believe that he would kill Gulp. If you've been paying attention, you'll notice that I've skipped someone. That's right, I skipped Skip, because as of right now, he's my main suspect. Skip has a lot of friends, yet he's lonely. Maybe he has a lot of friends who would be willing to run cover for him, while also not being able to spend quality time with them all, contributing to his loneliness. Or, maybe his friends aren't genuine friends, which is why he's lonely, or maybe it's something else. Skip also had no comment on Gulp's murder. He didn't say he was scared, he didn't say he was angry, he didn't say he was sad. He didn't say anything. There are many other little guys whose descriptions didn't say anything about the murder, and Bumper didn't want to talk about the murder, but there's a difference here. I think it's important that Skip's description specifically said that he wouldn't comment on the murder. Most other guys likely would have said something if Petey had asked. This is also different to Bumper, who just didn't want to talk about it, which seems to suggest that Bumper was shaken by the murder. On the other hand, Skip's lack of comment seems to imply guilt. Perhaps the most concerning thing about Skip, though, is that Skip is Gladiator. Therefore, I think it's possible that Skip has gladiator skills and would be able to kill. We don't have a motive, but Skip seems to be the most capable of committing murder, and thus my current suspect. Despite this, Skip has forgotten or missed something. I explain this by saying that Skip forgot to destroy the evidence. The day before Skip was explained was skipped, but as far as I know, that's Petey's fault. Unless Skip somehow prevented us from seeing the little guy on day 9 because he knew said guy would incriminate him. So, we're already halfway through the 30 days, but the murderer may not have been introduced yet. Based on what has been revealed, my suspect is Skip. What do you think? Is there something I overlooked? Is it too early to suspect a murderer? I might make another video around day 22 just to check in, depending on the comments y'all leave and the next few dancing little guys. But, until then, thank you so much for watching.